Welcome to Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. Chris Lee, joined by Jay Greeson. Brian Kelly out at LSU. We'll talk about that situation, maybe what led to it, who might be ahead for the Tigers. Jay Greeson, you called it last night, not based on info, but based on gut feeling. Brian Kelly, I think, had a 34-14 record at LSU. And on the whole, did a pretty good job, because let's not forget, Ed Orgeron did not leave that job in a great spot. But hey, this is the SEC where coaches get paid well into 8 figures a year. You disappoint for a couple of weeks, it can be you next, and it happened to Brian Kelly today.
Beyond disappoint in a few weeks, but disappoint against lofty expectations.
Yeah.
Because, look, you and I can remember talking in the summer, you and I were both very high on who LSU was and what LSU could be. And this also plays into the very real thing, and maybe this is just an SEC thing, because this is the league we pay the most attention to. But if you're not connected to your fan base, it makes it infinitely more harder to be the guy who leads the most important program. Look, LSU baseball is huge. LSU women's basketball and Kim Mulkey is great. But LSU football is king.
Yes.
And Saturday nights in Baton Rouge and Texas A&M comes in there and stomps the snot out of you, there are repercussions. And, I mean, look, man, there are so many ripple conversations to have out of this. It's one of the reasons why Auburn should have fired Hugh Freeze 2 weeks ago. I mean, because now Auburn's got to have a real conversation. Do we want to get in the market of having 3 coaches we're paying not to coach be on the salary while we go hire somebody new? And Tulane's the guy who's going to be the belle of the ball. LSU, Florida, Penn State, all monster programs. Auburn, right there in the conversation, but they're in a quagmire. I mean, for God's sakes, Hugh Freeze is statistically as bad as any full-time Auburn coach since the 1950s. And he still has a job. And as you said, Brian Kelly gets axed at 34-14. What is your expectation of winning?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into what I think led to it in just a minute. Before we do, reminder, we're brought to you by GameTime SIDEKICKS, officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. Don't have mine with me, but that's rare because I always do. You get everything from stainless
washing machine.
Right. We weren't planning on doing a show tonight, but
right.
Here we are. Everything from stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, shaker cups, SE16. Get you 20% off your entire order at GameTimeSidekicks.com. I was getting some texts this afternoon for some people connected to people down there, I guess is a good way to put it. And there's a lot of dissatisfaction in Baton Rouge right now. And it wasn't just with Brian Kelly. Scott Woodward also is a guy that people are not happy with. No, look, Scott Woodward brought in the baseball coach that just got them a national title.
Right.
Which tells you how quickly opinions can turn. But some of the issues, I understood it, there was maybe a possibility that LSU might wait because LSU also does not have a president. There was some thought that maybe boosters and the money people might want to go and wait for a president to fire Woodward, and then they'd hire a coach. So that was an interesting dynamic. Now, the money dynamic down there, LSU does not have as many big money people as some of the other SEC schools. That's an issue. And from what I understood, you got a booster base that's upset over they already had Ogeron's buyout. Now they're going to pay Kelly, what is it, $50 million, more or less?
Yeah.
Then you're going to have to hire a new coach. If you're going to aim high, which is what Scott Woodward always does, you'll have to pay that guy's buyout and then the salary. So the money is starting to really add up in Baton Rouge.
But look, man, I view this in my one semester at Auburn as an accounting major. The one term I learned was opportunity costs. And LSU, like Auburn, like Florida, they can't afford to be mediocre in football. They can't afford that the fan base is disinterested in Saturday nights in Red Stick. And that's just how this is. It's a business transaction of we pay the money for a guy not to work for us to collect the money for the people to be enthused to come pay us more money. I mean, it is a transactional bottom line conversation, and it's just that simple. Yes, Sam, the LSU basketball coach is tickled. I didn't even know who the damn guy is.
Matt McMahon.
He is tickled 12 ways of purple.
Yeah. Gosh, I had a thought here. I guess one of the thoughts is where they could go next. I think James Franklin, as someone said, he'd kill it there. I think he probably would be a great fit for that place and that fan base.
He's not coming south.
No? Why?
Nope.
Why not?
Why? James Franklin has to fight the persona that, and look, Brian Kelly, even at 34-14, he's being kicked to the curb because he couldn't win a big game. You're going to go hire a guy who is notoriously the face of not winning a big game? I mean, no, look, I say this for everybody who has a job of prominence. I make Nick Saban say no twice.
Okay.
I truly do. I truly do. That is the starting point. And he may say no twice. And then I make him say no a third time. James Frank, then my second call, if I'm LSU, is Jon Sumrall at Tulane. That guy coaches his whistle off. And look, I know they want a big name, but they wouldn't got a big name. And Brian Kelly was a failure. And I know he was 34-14 and was this close to a natty, but I wouldn't want if Auburn had made the right decision and fired Hugh Freeze 2 weeks ago, never mind a day earlier today. I wouldn't want the big names. I wouldn't want Dabo Swinney, and he's a huge name. This game has passed those guys.
What do you think about Jimbo Fisher? Because that name is lighting up the chat. I do too.
No, it's brought up, and I understand his connections there, and I understand everybody wants to go to the familiar tree. You know, I mean, it's like the Bear Bryant postulate of hire somebody who coached under Bear. Well, yeah, Jimbo's there. He knows the culture. Yes, he's got an addy, but how much better, even with the mush cloud of departures, is Texas A&M less than 2 years after they paid the record-setting buyout to cut ties with Jimbo? Is Texas A&M this morning without him? If Sumrall doesn't want to go in-state, the next call is you say, all right, Lane Kiffin, I know your daughter's a sorority girl at Ole Miss. What is it going to take? You want to be the highest paid coach in college football? All right, fine. Here it is.
Yeah, well, first of all, you brought logic and reason into the conversation, which is not always something that prevails. Well, no, I wasn't meaning you. I just mean, I don't know. Everybody's, Jimbo Fisher was the worst thing in the world a couple of years ago, and now people want him to coach at LSU just because his worst moments were a couple of years ago and not yesterday. But I mean, Lane Kiffin and his agents are going to be the biggest winners in all this.
Everybody's agent. I mean,
sure.
This is, another macro story on this that I love is how many folks, you and me included, jumped in with both feet on Nico Amaliava for going into his boss's office and wanting more money. Every coach of merit is about to do the exact same thing because of all of these openings that are available. So anybody who is even remotely desirable is going to walk in and say, hey, you know what? I need more. I need more to stay here. Or I'm getting calls. My agent's getting calls, wanting to know if I'm interested. I don't want to say I'm interested. I mean, whether you're anybody but Kirby, because that's the only place Kirby's going to ever coach. And look, he and his wife are both Georgia legends. And unless the Falcons call, I can't see Kirby leaving for another job ever. So Georgia, God bless you. You're in the honey hole. I mean, you're in that one place that you always had as a kid that you felt like you caught every fish. That is where Georgia is. Everybody else, head on a swivel.
Fisher, remember, was the guy also that Scott Woodward hired at A&M. So there are some connections. You do see some coaches or some ADs go with what's familiar. You saw it at Tennessee with Danny White and Josh Heupel. So not saying that's the right hire. I wouldn't do it, but just saying.
Well, if he does, it's good. He'll be the next one with the pink slip.
Yeah.
But so who knows in this day and age? I mean, for God's sakes, Scott Strickland hiring Todd Golden has allowed him the opportunity to hire a fourth football coach of Florida. That's mind-blowing to me in this league. That an AD has had the opportunity to swing and miss at 4 football coaches.
You shot down James Franklin a minute ago.
I did.
Why? You did.
I think James Franklin, if I had to put money on it, and as regular viewers to this chat probably know, been inclined to bet a little. I actually think James Franklin's going to end up at UCLA.
Okay,
I think he wants an opportunity to stick his fist in Penn State's face whenever he gets the chance.
Okay. Makes sense. I do think he's coveted SEC jobs at times, though, too, particularly Florida.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't want the Florida job? If you look, football coaches are wired different. If you and I got paid $54 million, as somebody put in the chat, to no longer work, I don't know if I would get off my couch for the next 6 years. Football coaches are wired different. And that, especially the good ones, and James Franklin's a good football coach, but it just didn't work at Penn State. I don't think Brian Kelly's a bad football coach. It just was broken in Red Stick. And remind me to get back to Any Given Saturday, because I think there's a real interesting conversation in the ripple effects from that documentary on Brian Kelly's time on that show. But these football coaches all believe they can go anywhere and win. Anywhere. I mean, that's part of their DNA. It is, I can make this work. I can make this work. I can make this work. And I think Franklin could very well want to show everybody that he can make it work in the SEC. And Florida is a job that if you are good at it, you can make it work regardless, because it's Florida, for God's sakes, man. You could not get in an airplane and recruit and be an unbelievable program at Florida. But I also think there's going to be a whole lot of measured decisions on a lot of these guys getting fired on who they go where they go.
Oh, gosh. I know what I was going to say. Just back to last night, watching that game, you could see the frustration in the players. It felt like that team kind of quit.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, Chris, and I don't know and hold your thought. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we knew Billy Napier was dead coach walking as soon as it started breaking bad with South Florida. But Pittman and Kelly made the decision easy with the way their teams played in meaningful home games, because those teams, they pooped themselves. I mean, and then they just they rolled around in it. And they were like a toddler. I mean, and they just shrugged their shoulders. And look, you make your living with 18 to 23-year-old kids, and you're always rolling the dice. But the testament here and the facts here are none of those kids cared about Brian Kelly, because they just second half was
awful,
a laughing stock.
Yeah. Here's my question. If you're broke and you're paying a guy $54 million to go away, what is your realistic plan for the next guy?
Well, the first thing that your plan for the next guy is, it's going to re-energize a fan base that is clearly filled with animosity to Brian Kelly. And look, they're not making this call unless some fat daddy booster said, I'll pay the damn buyout, whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, somebody's about to write a really big check to LSU to cover Brian Kelly being generational wealthy times 3 to not work. And look, man, there'll be somebody who gives him a chance, because he's got a good resume and he's going to be craptastic on TV. So what else is he going to do? There's only so much golf you can play. I mean, I'm a journalist. I know.
I think I'd read, tell me if I am imagining this, is LSU, I feel like I read a few years ago, that was the only SEC school where the giving to athletics was more than the giving to academics. Does that sound right?
I did not read that. I do not know that one direction or the other. It wouldn't shock me that the only fallacy in your statement is that they're the only SEC school in that regard.
Yeah.
So,
well, the whole money thing with them is very interesting. Because I mean, if you've got a Raising Cane's guy that can, write a check like that without blinking, then it's a different ball game. But I mean, my understanding is, again, the Orgeron buyout, the NIL checks, all those things, and now this. So, which begs the question: you're already out a lot of money with what you did today. Again, how much is left in terms
here's the thing,
of the next guy? Well, and also the money you need for other stuff too, right?
Well, you don't make this call unless you've got a lion's share of the finances already planned out, at least on the buyout. I mean, and then you're going to hope to convince a whole bunch of guys with more commas in their bank account than you and me that this is the guy that we need to go get, and then they're going to pony up for that guy too. So, but you don't pull the trigger right now unless you've got a whole lot of his buyout already financed.
Yeah.
And Nick asked a great question. And you and I talked about it late last night and even into early this morning. How many SEC programs are going to be on the search for a new head football coach? And you and I got to a place that we were comfortable with an over-under at 6.5. And not all of those are guys being fired, but potential coaches like Kiffin or Drinkwitz or even Beamer deciding they're going to go somewhere else. And, I mean, damn, man, we've already got 3 bona fide openings. Hugh Freeze should have been fired already. I think Mark Stoops is going to have a mutual parting of the ways, and that's 5. And then so if any of these other guys take a job, that gets you to 6. And that's without any unforeseen conversations moving forward.
Yeah, because I think Shane Beamer was not in there. Some thought that he may go to Virginia Tech. So that would be, what, 7? Steve Sarkisian has come up as wanting an NFL job. That would be 8. Did you mention Lane Kiffin if he were to go? Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I don't know. Just something tells me he's going to stay where he is. I have no inside info other than his kids will make the call, from what I've told.
Well, I think, hey, and you know another name we didn't mention? If Clark Lee's agent is not getting phone calls, then ADs are not doing their due diligence.
Yeah.
That guy's putting up coach of the year type of status. And I know that's where he played, and I know yada yada yada. I know all those things. But Vandy's got buku money. I mean, Vandy's the one school we don't know how much money they have because they're private.
Yeah.
So Vandy's not going to get money whipped. But if Clark Lee decides, hey, I don't know how good we're going to be post Diego Pavia, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, Trace is right. Clark Lee's agent is Jimmy Sexton. Guess who was on Vanderbilt's campus Friday? I know for a fact.
Hey, Jimmy Sexton is smoking Cubans right now and drinking like $500 2-finger shots of dark liquor because,
right.
I mean, his offseason is just about to be delicious.
I feel like the 2 biggest winners of the last 2 years, just at every turn, are Jimmy Sexton and Lane Kiffin.
That's fair.
Yeah. Hey, I want to get your thought on some candidates in a minute. I'll have you to throw a few out. I've got a few in mind. Before we get there, reminder, help out those who help our show. That includes our friends at Yearly Company, a Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition, designed for meaning. Each piece is handcrafted from solid 14-karat gold, natural gemstones, made to measure for a perfect fit, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle is custom size, so knowing your size is the most important first step before ordering. That is where the sizing kit comes in. It is the perfect place to start, especially for husbands who want to have sizes ready now. So shopping closer to the holidays is effortless. Code SE16KIT, KIT, gets you 100% off your sizing kit at checkout at Yearly Company.
Hey, Chris, quick tangent
sure.
before you get to the rest of the. My wife says I look like a goob in hats because my head's so big. I'm wearing the Yearly Company hat, and I think she's right, honestly. I can't wear hats anymore.
Yeah, well, it's when you're the size of Jay Greeson, it does make it a little challenging. So,
yeah, I'm a good 6'4", 225.
Yeah. Well, don't sit on your phone case at 6'4", 225 or your phone because it might break unless, of course, you got it covered in ROKFORM gear. It's the world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, Rock Lock secure mounting. SEC 25 gets you 25% off your entire order at ROKFORM.com. Also brought to you by HOVI hats. My Titans stink. My Titans hat does not. You can see it on my head. It is my new favorite Titans hat. Look no further than HOVI hats for high-quality headwear with a great fit and unique designs. Bad Beat, B-A-D-B-A-T, gets you 15% off your entire order. Jay, I got some names in mind, but let's hear yours first.
Well, 9-time champion stole my thunder. I think high on your list. We mentioned Sumrall at Tulane. We, of course, mentioned Kiffin. I don't think James Franklin is going to be a guy. I just think there are a whole lot of – I actually think, and this is, again, no sources, just my view. I think I think there's going to be another shoe or two to drop out of the locker room of Penn State. I think that just did not seem – that felt like it broke bad. So, and Penn State's now fighting the buyout and saying they're trying to allege it was for cause. But if you start with Sumrall, all right, look, your wish list starts with Saban, period, end of conversation. And then when he says no 3 times, you go to Kiffin. And then if he and his kids convince him to continue to stay in Oxford, Sumrall is high on my list. And then 9-time champion threw a name out there. Joe Brady was the OC in 19, and he's done nothing but continue to elevate his resume at the NFL level as an OC. I think Joe Brady's going to get a call. I think you look around, and I don't know how much LSU cares about former ties. I think Jimbo Fisher's a mistake, but he, with his connections to the AD, he'll probably get an interview. And then you start wondering, look, man, because I'm going to make the same list because I need Auburn to be in this conversation too of looking for their next guy. I'm making Brent Key say no. I'm making Clark Lee say no. I mean, those guys have done a hell of a lot more with a hell of a lot less than what LSU can offer.
Key is also a Georgia Tech alum, is he not?
He is.
Yeah, for whatever that's worth. Rhett Lashlee's come up a lot of places, I feel like. Where was it that he was?
Lashlee will be at Arkansas.
Arkansas. When we got through the list of SEC teams this time, I know we mentioned it last night. Did we throw Brent Venables in there?
We did not.
Okay. That's another one that could be. I mean, this could just be bananas.
And if you're going to fire a guy who's 34-14, this one has to be the splashiest of hires, which kind of leads a little more credence to your assertion that James Franklin could be in the mix because he's the best name. He's the biggest name out there. Last 4 years, he's 4th in wins among all college coaches behind DeBoer, Ryan Day, and Kirby. So, I mean, he's coming there with a pedigree of, I mean, for God's sakes, he won at Vandy. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, you said Franklin and UCLA. I get it. His personality is that he would love to stick it to Penn State. But come on.
Yeah.
You're getting offered to UCLA or LSU. Who are you taking? All that hypothetically, of course.
If I get the offer between Penn State and LSU?
No. Between LSU and UCLA.
Oh, if I'm not, see, I think you got to look in a couple of directions here. I think the path in every other conference but the SEC to go win a natty, are you looking for the best competition or the best path to a national championship? because I think UCLA is an easier path to a natty, truly. Because you take a job in this league, I mean, for God's sakes, man, Vandy and Missouri are if you play them at 12:30, you damn well better pack 2 lunches, and they less than half a decade ago they were considered cupcakes in this league, but now you gotta show up every week. I mean, look at the point spreads that FanDuel puts out in every SEC game. It is an outlier if anybody's double digits anymore. It is a tug of war. Now, the resources are there, but the path to getting to a title spot or the playoff, man, it's a gauntlet.
Well, Alan brought up Lincoln Riley in the chat. I don't know if he was bringing it up in the context I was about to bring it up, which was, let's not forget, when Oklahoma went to the SEC, look who got out. Lincoln Riley went to USC. Now, USC and UCLA are 2 very different jobs. When's the last time UCLA won with any consistent significance? I mean, 80s, 90s? I don't know. Now, you can also say in the next breath that, okay, everything is different now. You know, Vanderbilt is competitive. You talked about Missouri. Like, if you were in the Big Ten or the SEC, those are primo jobs for the most part. Now, on the other hand, you know, what was UCLA doing hiring Deshaun Foster a couple of years ago? Was that a money move? Was that I don't know what that was. My point is, and I don't mean to spend this much time talking about UCLA, but if going somewhere like that is a factor, does a place like that have all its ducks in a row to pick up and be competitive at a playoff contending level? I just don't know.
We don't know. But I will say this. You could go to UCLA, and with USC being down, you're going to be a meaningful player with James Franklin. Again, subjective and possibilities here. But you're a meaningful player in every high-profile recruit or transfer west of the Mississippi.
We just talked, we gave a bunch of names. I think we hit on Jon Sumrall. That guy's one of the hottest group of 5 names out there. Where do you think he lands?
Well, I know he's got previous ties to Kentucky. I know every Auburn fan and booster I know who is ready for the Hugh Freeze chapter to be done is unbelievably high on him. I don't know where he'll land, to be honest. I just know he's not going to be at Tulane next year.
Right. I'm fascinated with the idea of when this ends. How many teams are left with something not as attractive as what you just got rid of or saw walk out the door? I mean, let me ask you this. What are the odds that LSU is going to hire a next coach who had a better track record than Brian Kelly coming in?
Probably not. But yeah, I'll counter that with they're going to hire a better coach and assuredly a better fit than what Brian Kelly was.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the Saturday down south. And arguably my 2 biggest takeaways from that were, one, I should have known in the offseason that Vanderbilt was going to be this competitive because of the motivational impact that Clark Lee had in the locker room. And two, when Brian Kelly is negotiating with his agent, who is also the same agent that Garrett Nussmeier has, about Garrett Nussmeier coming back to school, and they're talking about, and the NIL equivalent will be the same if he falls into round 3. And I mean, there was nothing that gave me confidence watching the entirety of that series about watching Brian Kelly interact with his team.
Yeah. But by the way, isn't it weird to watch that now? Because Brian Kelly's prominent in that series. He's gone. Billy Napier was prominent. He's gone. Sam Pittman prominent there. He's gone. And Shane Beamer may well get out for Virginia Tech, just to avoid the, what's coming if they have another disappointing year, which is kind of what you have to do anymore.
And we've had a couple of guys throw in the chat that Kelly to Penn State feels like a good fit. And look, I can see that.
Yes, I can too.
I mean, I can see a whole lot of that. And somebody else put in the chat that Kelly never lived down doing the fake Cajun accent. That rubbed a crap ton of people wrong in the Pelican State. And I mean, be who you are, man. Because if you can't be authentic, if you can't be an original, then you're just a fraud. And look, I pray in terms of my football faith, one, that Hugh Freeze gets fired before I wake up in the morning, and two, that Brian Kelly is not the solution for John Cohen in the Auburn athletic department. I don't want him coaching in the South. I mean, I don't want him coaching my team, but I can see a whole lot of paths and rationalizations of how Penn State can say, this is the best guy we could get. This is the best guy on the market, resume-wise.
Yeah. Parting thoughts. I feel like we've hit just about every corner of this. Let's start here. Go ahead. Let me let you finish. Then I'm gonna ask us to get in the prediction game for a minute.
Well, I've got a multitude of parting thoughts. One, and somebody put it in the chat, this may actually help Hugh Freeze's job security, because do you really want to wade into the waters of paying an 8-figure buyout and now trying to go box out in an offensive rebounding session against the 92 Dream Team of finding a coach with LSU, Penn State, Florida, and the rest looking for him? And I'm not saying Auburn's not a perennial top 20 program. I'm not. But what I am saying is there are going to be a whole lot of dudes in high demand, and the list is short. And you don't want to be the guy who fires a guy and then doesn't have a home run solution. I mean, dear Lord, man. Lane Kiffin made a whole lot of money in the last month. A whole lot of money. And none of it from his paycheck. I mean, Ole Miss is going to have to pony up in a lot of ways. So my other parting thought is, this is college football where we are. You can't afford to be a mediocre or an underachiever. Period. And because the scrutiny is magnified when College Game Day is at Vandy, Missouri, and LSU's going, what the bleep? Why are you not in Red Stick? What the bleep? How are we not? We've got a guy who was projected round 1, pick 1 at quarterback, and this is what we've got. Hey, I actually commend LSU for pulling the trigger, because when you know, you know. Don't let a guy run off a 4-game win streak in November with a whole lot of shoulder shrug games that get you to the Citrus Bowl or whatever else, when it's covering the fact that you're wasting a defense that was better than you thought. You're wasting a first-round quarterback. You're wasting a slew of NFL dudes on the perimeter. I mean, and look, LSU spent the most money in the portal than anybody else in the country. So the expectations were not unfounded.
Bo brought up a name that I meant to bring up, because he is definitely trying to get back into coaching and definitely trying to do it in the SEC footprint if he can do it. Jon Gruden. Now, I've kind of laughed at that for a while. I mean, like, how many years are we going to do this? 15? And by the way, age works. It doesn't work in reverse. And the guy's never coached college. I do wonder, though, I just see it's a game of musical chairs where I feel like you've got more chairs than names that excite people. I wonder if Jon Gruden ends up backing into a job that way. Some AD goes, hey, we need a personality that'll excite the room and the fan base because we couldn't get the guys we wanted.
Well, he would be one of those names that generated a whole lot of buzz.
Yeah. Do you think I'm going to ask you for a pick here, because I think this is the domino that determines a lot of what happens next. Yes or no, Lane Kiffin is still at Ole Miss next year?
No.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm going the other way. You're thinking Florida, aren't you?
No, I'm thinking LSU.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think family's going to either keep him where he is or get him to Florida. And I'm leaning with where he is. Not really based on any information. As somebody said to me yesterday, I don't think Lane Kiffin knows what Lane Kiffin's going to do. But, man, that is an awfully good situation for him right now. There aren't 10, and there maybe aren't 5 programs right now in the FBS whose fan base is happier with the coach than Ole Miss's is with Lane Kiffin. And to me, I think that means something. Or it would to me.
It does, but I think these are the salad days. I mean, I don't.
And see, this is the other thing. If money's an issue, again, good luck to you here. I mean, what do you think it would cost to get Lane Kiffin somewhere? I mean, 8 years, $100 million?
Probably.
Yeah.
But that's not a whole bunch more than he's making now. He's one of those 8-figure guys already, isn't he?
If he's not, he's close.
See,
and then you're paying the buyout, and then you're paying that contract. I'm just saying, if we're going to stay in a lane and money is an issue, so.
Well, somebody threw out, how much is Sarkisian's head on a swivel right now?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you leave Texas after one disappointing year, but maybe you would for another college job. I don't know.
Had a bunch of questions. Zach T, does Brian Kelly get another SEC job? No, not only no, but hell no.
Hang on a minute. Let me throw one at you. Just let's get a little crazy for a minute. Let's say Kentucky opens. What about Brian Kelly at Kentucky? What about Brian Kelly at South Carolina?
No.
Why not?
He's not a good fit in the South.
Okay. Well, Kentucky is northernish.
Zach T asked, where does Brian Kelly end up at? I think he is a perfect fit for Penn State.
You said Penn State earlier. I agree with you there.
And he very well may be the next coach at Oregon State. Does Ole Miss have, Trey asked, does Ole Miss have a sustainable NIL?
Yes, I think so.
As long as they win, yes. And
yeah, I think they've had one of the better NILs in the SEC, if not the country, for the last 4 years.
The B. Davis asks, if I've been drinking again. No, I have not. One more. Sark to LSU from 9-time champion. Sark to LSU makes so much sense to me. I actually can really see that. I think this is such a disappointing season for Texas that it wouldn't surprise me if Sark has told his agent to entertain offers.
Why does Ryan Silverfield's name not come up more? Big win for them yesterday.
Yep.
Now, last Memphis coach, I mean, Norvell, everybody soured on him. Let's not forget what he did 2 years ago. And I like this point. Our man SC Scout guy, Kelly, Wisconsin.
Yes.
I mean, it's not going well for Luke Fickell, but I'm hearing they've got money issues up there too. So
that's another one that's got to be in the consideration of prominent Power 4 jobs. Dan Mullen is a great name. Thomas Wells, who's doing a whole lot of things at UNLV right now. And I've seen multiple references to, look, man, if Gus Malzahn wants to be a head coach, he will be a head coach in this cycle.
Kurt Cignetti, I mean, he just signed an enormous deal
with
Indiana. Deal. So I don't think that's happening. Jeff Traylor's a good one. Traylor's won very consistently at UTSA. I think he's a Texas guy. Now, I think, I don't know, LSU is not the kind of place that will, Scott Woodward's ego is too big if he's making the hire to go hire a coach from UTSA. But you could probably do worse.
9-time champion just threw out maybe the hottest name that is potentially gettable, and that is Dan Lanning, but I don't think he's gettable. I don't think Oregon will money whip anybody.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's a money thing, Oregon is not the place you want to get into a bidding war with.
And you've got a better path to the playoff and a potential title from Oregon than you do Red Stick.
Yeah. Joe Brady, I mean, we brought that one up last night. I mean, I think LSU fans would love that one just based on 2019. Now, I'm trying to look up, has he been a has he been a head coach? And I don't think he has.
He has not.
No.
Nothing but an OC.
So, I mean, it's a risk, but I think LSU would be excited about that one.
I mean, I think yesterday's certified that Arkansas is now also making phone calls. because Petrino is not the answer.
Yeah, I'm with Bo here. Phil Knight is, has Oregon ever lost a money war?
I can't think of one.
Maybe Tim Corbin when they were targeting him for baseball a long time ago, but
Alex Golish is a great call. I don't know who.
Oh yeah, how did we not get to Alex Golish? Good grief!
That is a great call.
Yeah.
And as Bo said, I am very high on Brent Key and what he's done. I don't know if he will leave Atlanta. That's where he went to school. But, man, Golish a silent commit to Arkansas. Interesting.
Yeah. Because you thought, a lot of people think that's Rhett Lashlee's job.
I think his first choice is Auburn if it becomes open. But I do think he would take that job. He walked on and played there, was a grad assistant when Malzahn was the OC back in the day under Houston Nutt. And I actually really can see a scenario where Lashlee is the HC at Auburn and Malzahn is the OC at Auburn.
Yeah, that feels like you could do a lot worse. Willie Fritz, somebody brought up, that's a good one. Although he's not been in Houston, but what, 1 or 2 years? And they're doing quite. Houston 7-1, and I think ranked. Not a flashy guy, but has won a ton of games. You're going to get a laugh out of this.
I don't know, and I feel
I'm 99% sure that was a joke. Right.
Yes.
Lashlee though, speaking of schools with money, SMU's got a little bit too.
They do, but again, college football coaches in general are wired differently. So
right.
I'm certain he thinks he can go to any program and make them a national power. And hey, it was a good day to be Mike Elko. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Elko, that's working very well where it is. Adam brought up the point I've been making. I just do not think, and I'm going to say two things that are going to be contradictory, but they're really not. I think the pool of perceived home run hires, I just don't think there's many name coaches out there to match the expectations at some of these schools where there are vacancies. Now, what I do think is that there's always coaches out there in the weeds somewhere that are superstars in waiting that nobody's talking about. Great example in basketball, Chris Beard.
Kurt Cignetti.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's another couple of football ones in my mind, but they're escaping me at the moment. Oh, Kalen DeBoer. Who knew about Kalen DeBoer 5 years ago? Cabo Amy asked if Saban's a pipe dream. I don't see it.
Well, my response to her was, yes, he is a pipe dream, but you still ask, and then you ask again.
Why is nobody talking about Odom? I'm blanking here.
Barry Odom?
Oh, Barry Odom. Okay. Where's Barry Odom?
We're not talking about Barry Odom because he's Barry Odom, for God's sake.
Where's Barry Odom now?
Who cares?
He's somewhere. I can't think of it. I'll look it up. Yes. See, this one is the Colorado School of Mines guy, averaging 50 points a game. Go get that guy. And we laugh at stuff like that, but sometimes that's where these guys come from.
I don't think any of these schools should be looking for a guy who is trying to reclaim glory other than Saban. They should be looking for a guy who is desperate to get to the next level. Whether that next level is being at Ole Miss and being in a place where you are a perennial national power, or being at a place like Tulane and you can consistently compete for a national championship.
Parting thoughts, Jay Greeson. We've been here almost an hour.
Unbelievable day, honestly. And I don't know if I texted you or put it in the chat early, very early, in fact. Who had Brian Kelly being fired before Hugh Freeze on their bingo card?
Crazy. With the better record this year, by the way.
And I don't know how much better their team is.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn would have beaten them yesterday. Because
Everybody
I think
beat them yesterday.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of my point. LSU did not show up. Or I take that back. LSU showed up the first half. Second half, they quit.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's an hour of talking about it. Interested to see what LSU does. Interested to see what other schools do. Interested to see what our power rankings are tomorrow. I've got to put mine together.
A&M's
we'll have
one.
predictions tomorrow.
If you don't put A&M one, Chris, you're wrong.
Well, spoiler alert. I think if you're wearing maroon goggles, you'll like my power rankings in the morning. So
you'll damn sure like mine. I don't have to change mine.
That's a rarity in our power rankings. So yeah. All right. Yeah, enjoyed it, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out and being here. For Jay Greeson, I'm Chris Lee. God bless you. Have a great rest of your weekend. You've been watching Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.